Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going live. And yes, I see that I am live. And I'm just fiddling around, doing my little administrative stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, which most of you have seen me do. And just Giovanna, we're talking to Giovanna Gattuso. And hello.
Hi, hi, from Italy, from Rome.
Great.
Hello.
Great. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing today. And I'm going to save all my information, save that. And I should be good to go. And let's see. Let's do this again and we'll see how good I am.
Here I am on Facebook.
Yeah. Oh, good. You're watching too.
I like this.
Just be sure your volume is off.
Yeah, I do that.
And I'm just about ready here. And sorry. And let's see. Here we are. We are here, and I'm turning my sound down. Ta-da! Okay. And hello, Toby Simmons. Hello, Mark. Hello, Giovanna.
How are you? It's great to see you. It's been like years
I
since
know.
I live.
I know. It really has been a long time.
I know.
And ladies and gentlemen, so Giovanna has she comes to Los Angeles like once a year, right, for like a camp, a jazz camp, and it's really fabulous. It's a week or two, is that correct?
Yeah, it started like 3 weeks,
Oh,
and then in like 15 years, then it became like 10 days.
that makes sense to me.
3 weeks was great. It was a lot, even for the students.
Yeah.
And then I'm kidding, but it's been really great. I started to do in the 2000 actually, and last time I did it was 2 years ago. And then because of this crazy world situation about COVID, I'm
Yep.
staying in Italy, enjoying my country. I miss LA so much. I miss, everything. I miss my academy on the beach in Venice Beach, the Venice Voice Academy, and my colleagues and friends. But we have to stay positive, like we just said.
Yes, we do. We're staying positive, and this is going to be more of a but we can talk about that. But we'll start with
Yeah.
we'll start with some more uplifting stuff. But so, this is just again like in this career, we know each other over the years. We work together or we meet each other or something happens and we can know colleagues for 20 years and not see them
I know.
for a really long time.
And I was really surprised, like being in LA. I mean, it looks like a small world, I thought like going to like, and then everyone knows each other. Like like when people introduce me to you and suddenly, we had all these colleagues and friends in common.
Yeah.
That's a great thing about, being in
Yeah.
this jazz music world.
It's great. And I was so intrigued when I revisited your website now. And you've really done so, and I don't know all about your whole history. I just know what I know through our relationship, but because you don't go around going, oh well, I'm this and I'm doing this and this. You have a relationship. So but you're well, first of all, there were a few things that I saw. So I saw I guess it's a new pop release, right? A video and
the naked.
Yes. And that's I mean, that's really far from jazz.
I know.
and And so,
It's a
but
kind of
that's fine.
everything.
Whatever. Huh?
It's a kind of everything into that.
Yeah.
But the
And
really
then,
production was really fun to do it, and I have like a huge team around
yeah.
that one song. I mean, I was working with this producer in LA, Ted Perman, that did an amazing job on the old CD, but then we focus on that song. And then because of the lyrics that came out, I mean, I wrote the lyrics and the music because of a speech from an Italian politician. And I'm
Oh.
like, oh, what did he say? What did he just said? And then I like listen and
What
listen.
was it? What was the line?
Yeah, I mean, the old lyrics, it's based on a politician's speech, an Italian politician speech. And then at some point he said, the king is naked. And I'm like, oh, I like that. You know, then I brought the old song based on this one person. But then I realized, reading the lyrics, that you can apply that figure, that character to, all the I don't want to say a man, but all the person that feel, I'm in charge of the
Yeah.
world and I have everything around me, women and this and that, and I
Yeah.
can just turn the world into my fingers. But then when you're done, and at some point it happened, all the powerful people.
Well,
Then
isn't that related to the old fable also about the king being naked? The king, right? That
yeah,
old fable where the king
exactly.
hires somebody and he supposedly dresses him in the finest of everything, but really he's not. And so the king comes out naked, right?
I didn't know about that until I wrote the song and someone told me, there's something. I was like, oh, that's interesting. But what happened because of that, I mean, I had so much fun to record that song.
Yeah.
And then we thought like, oh, we have to make a video. And I have a friend in Italy who is like an amazing like visual guy. And he designed the whole concept and he called it director, and we shoot this video in different location. So then we had like a story about the dresses, like I changed 9 dresses, and then we found this guy who owns hats from Madame Butterfly and
Oh.
all this famous classical opera. So we rented the hats. So, and then this painter from LA, which is an Armenian, amazing painter, Anahit Bogosian, she goes like, okay, so I want to be part of this thing. So we went on tour just with one song because so we did a kind of play and we talk about, fashion and we talk about hearts, and then I had my concert and then I played the song and we talk about the video. We had the Q&A with the director and the actor. I know it was fun. It was fun. We went on tour in LA and then in San Diego and then in Italy, like in different theater to do that. So it was
I'm
fun.
sorry I missed that. Was that a year ago or so?
It was like 2000, like 3 or 4 years ago. I mean,
Gee, I'm really sorry I missed that.
I know. It was just like, it happened. It was fun. It was really fun.
Yeah.
And the production is really amazing. And I know it's not jazz, but it looks like a pop song. But into that song, if you pay really attention, there's a lot. There's a kind of jazz lines, and then there is like me singing opera in the background. So.
And speaking of that, I found you singing with some opera or classical, I think it was an orchestra. And I was like, what? Because I don't think I've heard you sing like that. Wow. I mean, I was blown away.
Thank you.
You are I mean, I was totally blown away. That was so gorgeous. Your voice, your singing, and in that style too. I mean, wow. Totally blown away.
Talking about the symphonic orchestra they play, I think, what the Bacchiana Brasileira number 5.
Maybe it was like you could see the orchestra and you could see you standing kind of in the middle of it, and it was like, what? what is going on? I was blown away.
Thank you, so sweet. I was always like in love with jazz since I was a kid, but for some reason, my voice was meant to sing opera. I mean, to me, as soon as I started to study opera, it was so easy for my voice.
Yeah.
But in my mind, like, I don't want to be an opera singer, even though it's great. Of course, it's great, but thank you. Yeah.
Oh, incredible. Do you work much in that style?
No, not at all. No. It's fun. Like, it's been always so difficult to put a label on me. Like, I don't define myself a jazz singer, but I'm not a pop singer, and definitely I'm not an opera singer. Like in the classical way to see people that like are devoted to opera.
Yes, right.
Yeah, and I have lots of colleagues that are from Brazil. That as in Brazil, I'll very often like mix it together.
Yeah.
And I definitely love that style, which is very, very close to the Southern Italian music. I mean, there's a kind of taste, there's a kind of way to modulate the voice that it's kind of, that I call it Mediterranean, which is very close to the Brazilian sound.
Really? I don't think I knew that. That's really interesting. I'd like to hear some of that. I mean, if I went on YouTube and just said Southern Italy music, or what? How could I listen?
Probably that's like, if you want like the most easy example is songs from Naples.
I'm gonna look at this with you because I think it's really interesting, and I think people would find this interesting. So let me see. So I'm so much open on.
No, it's just like my computer. Like
too many things.
I know.
So music Naples, or what would I say?
Why don't you write? Okay, I'm gonna do the spelling. A-N-E-M-A, and then E, like oh my God, my English is completely gone. Like space.
Space.
E. Oh, here you go. The second song that you can see, Anima e Core.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, even Bocelli sing that, but we want to listen something more traditional, or even Michael Bublé. I would go down, like find something really. Let's see, it's all like American singers, but we want.
Is she American?
No, she's Italian, but I would not define her like a real Southern person. Oh, okay, Roberto Muro. Yeah,
okay.
I would do that. Like, just to feel, the very old.
Yeah.
Noi che perdimmo pace o suono, non ci dicimmo mai perché, vocca che vasa non ne vanno, non so sti voccoine, pure te chiama e non risponde, può fa dispietta a me. Tenim già così anima e cuore, non ce lasciamo più, manca penura. O desiderio te mi fa paura, campa con te, sempre con te, per non morire.
That's really beautiful. You could I could see how it could be applied to a bossa nova as well.
Yeah, this is one of the oldest, the old way to sing this kind of. And it's in dialect. It's not Italian. Any region in Italy has its own dialect. But tradition from Naples is like so ancient and beautiful. And as you saw on the list, Bocelli and all this kind of famous star went to look for some gem from Italy.
Yeah, that sounds beautiful. I have somebody, Mark says he likes your website, and
thank you,
he
Mark.
does like the video, but the rest, he likes the rest too.
With all the guys in the pool.
Right.
And me playing the queen. It was really fun to shoot that video.
Yeah. Actually, I'll just look at that for a second, because that's, I'll show people. They can go anyway, but it's just fun to just look at that and see what it comes up here, right? I think.
I think you should go on, put the mouse on Giovanna Gattuso, and then video, or the king is there.
Oh.
No, it's the same. It's okay. Yeah, and here you are.
There they are, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, and just to show you, like, Giovanna has such a wide influence. Here's some of this music. I won't play too much because I don't know if Facebook will like it or not.
Oh.
The king is naked now, a lady lost in time, poisoned by wishes now, the people wonder. No matter what you do, life for him becomes the truth. An egocentric man with always something to prove. The king is naked, he looks like a clown that never fits a royal crown. Yet he deserves no less than anybody else. He deserves no less than anybody else. Yet he deserves no less than anybody else. He deserves a royal crown.
This is great. Oh, that's really funny.
And not to go into politics at all.
Yeah.
The guy that inspired the lyrics was Berlusconi, our ex prime minister, which has this huge ego, always with her. I don't know if you remember that. Like So what happened in the video, that everything went upside down. So I was playing the girl with all the men around, like playing this kind of diva.
Yeah. What a fun video to make.
I know. It was really fun, really fun. I was really surrounded by amazing artists, amazing.
Yeah.
All the house that you saw, and the pavements where I was laying it down, like made by stone, one stone close to the other. It was like years of work, not for the video. The guy that made that house is just a genius. So it was really fun just to go there and enjoy the house and the pool. It was July, it was really hot.
Not to mention all the beautiful men around you.
You know what, Katie? I didn't enjoy that at all because I was so busy and focused.
Well, it didn't hurt. Let's put it that way. If they had been less attractive, you might have noticed more, actually.
The audition, like I want to be the producer, like I want to do the audition, like yes, you maybe no. In my life.
It is. Being a producer has its ups. It's good things.
I know, I know.
So,
No, I
go ahead.
No, what I was gonna say, like, it's true. I've been really influenced by the arts, like in general.
Yeah.
So by the fashion, and I studied fashion in my life. That was my school. Like I
Huh.
was completely in fashion, and I'm still like in love watching fashion show and
Oh.
design dresses sometimes. And I have my mom that's so elegant stuff for events, and I paint myself. So that's why
Oh.
I like to be surrounded by arts in general, and I
Yeah.
always try not to be too focused on one thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why it's really difficult to put a label in
Yeah.
my music.
Right.
Even my first album, Maree, it was half Italian, half in English, and you can't really define a jazz album because there's like a lot of Brazilian music, and there's some kind of Italian Arabic stuff there in my voice.
Would you do you call yourself a jazz singer? Do you label yourself like that, or what do you label yourself as a singer?
No, which I don't know if it's good or bad.
I don't either. For selling,
No, I know that it's not smart at all. I'm not smart. No, it would be easy. It would be easy, like to be just focused and be just into only one thing. But I feel that like music, it's just such a universal language.
Yeah.
And I like to listen everything. And I have like you, we teach. So there are
Yeah.
like students going to listen Japanese and symphonic metal and this and that. And I'm very curious.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what's that? Let me hear the chords on the piano. And then even when I write music, it just come in my mind, like music and lyrics come together, and there's really not a style. Like there was a time in my life that I was just into jazz.
Yeah.
For hours in the car, in school. This happened when I was a student.
Yeah.
So for like 4 years, I listened that much music, so many songs and CDs and whatever. And then at some point I get tired. Like, I need silence now.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of Lady Gaga. I don't know if I can tell this in your
Right.
Yeah, and I like people that use the music not also because of the voice and the music and that style, but the entire show. I like to watch the show.
Yeah.
And American are like the top, the best in making the show perfect when you go on stage.
Well, I think now, yeah, Toby, you're right. She said without a label should bring in many opportunities. That's true, but I feel, here's what I feel. So many years ago, there was Eva Cassidy, right? So Eva Cassidy appeared on the scene where she wasn't like a big show person, but she had all these different styles and she was great. And the record labels actually didn't really pick her up and promote her because they couldn't figure out what she was. And that was a real thing. It was like everybody would always talk about Eva Cassidy, and now I think because of the internet probably, and because of how the business has changed, it's no longer really so much about selling CDs unless you're like Lady Gaga or somebody like that. And so we're in this kind of a new age, and mixtures is hip, over the last 20 years even. The mixtures of the styles have come in and really been interesting to the general public, to listen to. It's like, ooh, I like that. What is that? It's kind of a mix, right? Like in LA over the last 20 years, the jazz has really brought in a lot of orchestral music, lots of violin players, and you go to the Blue Whale, which is, like the room for the hip jazz music, and you see all kinds of influences, and so I just think that now we're in a change. I mean, hopefully, we'll get on the other side of this strange period of life, and once we start kind of moving again, I think that there's a big change going to occur, and partly because of this, because there's so much, we're doing so much on the internet, and I think the audiences are seeing and hearing things that they would have never seen or heard, right?
Totally, yeah. No, it's totally like that. Yeah. We probably have to wait and see what will happen.
Yeah. That part's exciting.
I know. And being on stage. I mean, we were talking before to go online that you just had a concert, if I understand.
I did.
I'm waiting to see what is going to be here, because there's no stage anymore. There's no theaters, there's not open thing, and most of the beautiful like jazz festival didn't happen this year. So yeah, I'm curious too to see what is going to be.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, of course there's live streaming, but that's definitely not the same thing. I mean, a big beautiful festival, you go to the festival not just to see the artists, but to enjoy the whole experience around people who are like you, and yeah, it's really a different
with the audience. I mean, it's so different when you're on stage and you watch people. It's like listen a beautiful CD, but then when you go into a club or or in a big arena, and then you see these people live, and then you have that kind of connection. I mean, you feel some kind of energy that it's completely impossible to do it online, or
to
get some other way.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Like this little gig that I did a few nights ago, it was outdoors in a beautiful patio, nice restaurant. And the people there a lot of them were so happy to have the music. They really were watching and enjoying. And I felt I was doing my best to be my best singer self, but it was hard. It was challenging at first. It was, I felt like I had to sweep off the cobwebs, and it was not just the musical aspect, but it was the physical, like, how if you haven't sung for a while, your rhythm is kind of sluggish, like you're not doing, you're not like right up on top because you haven't really been doing it. Even if you're practicing at home, it's just not the same thing, Yeah. So it was a 3-hour gig, and it took me to the last set for me to go, oh yeah, now I can I feel better. I feel like I'm actually,
yeah. 5 hours long now because I'm ready.
Yeah. And I'm going to do a live duo, a live streaming tomorrow night. And today I'm going to go over and rehearse. It's a piano player named Tamir Hendelman. And he and I are old friends, but we haven't really worked a whole lot together over the last bunch of years. And I'm looking forward to it, but I really want it to be a warm, comfortable experience. I'm not expecting to be perfect. And
you're going to be in the same room?
We're going to be in the same room with, like a plastic shield between us. And he does a lot of live concerts of his own, like himself, usually Saturday nights. And he's a great player. And he does an occasional duo, like he did one with Tierney Sutton. And it's going to be fun, and I'm looking forward to it. But I feel really lucky that I had this gig this weekend, so I could, clean up the cobwebs, because really there were cobwebs. I felt very like, "Ugh," you know.
Sponsor is gonna be on Zoom or YouTube. Where
Yeah, Zoom. There's a link. If you well, you'll be asleep, but because it'll be at 6 at night. So it'll be 3 in the morning for you. You probably won't want to get up. But let's talk about your jazz a bit. Your jazz singing and your involvement with jazz. When did it really start going for you?
Since really young, like my dad used to play for me Glenn Miller Orchestra, and he was a huge fan.
He was a huge fan.
Yeah. And so I love the trumpet. Trumpet is my favorite instrument after the voice, of course. And then I started to study voice with an amazing teacher here in Italy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started to listen everything, and I was of course in love with the main famous star like Ella Fitzgerald, of course.
Yeah.
Was, the Mito. Mike? What'd you say? I forgot to speak English.
You mean like the basically the big person or your mentor or something? Yes.
And Sarah Vaughan, of course. And Al Jarreau. I was a huge fan of Al Jarreau, which probably like me is not really just jazz. It's like like that.
Yeah.
And I was really into jazz. And then I discovered, everything that is around that kind of style, like gospel and Brazilian music, bossa nova. But I love to listen instrumental music, like orchestra, duo, trio. Sonny Rollins. I was a huge fan of Sonny Rollins.
Me too. I love Sonny Rollins. Yeah.
And and then I started to do my gigs in Italy, and then I finally arrived to America, the typical Italian girl that wants to arrive there. Yeah, and then I met some amazing musicians in LA, and it was great. It was great. I love Los Angeles. I'm a huge fan of Los Angeles.
Yeah. And I can't remember all the details, but you had some gigs with some really good players here, right?
Yeah, Lou Forestieri, Ottavio Bari, Enzo Tedesco, which passed away, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I know. What else? Roberto
Octavio Bailey. I just want to say Octavio Bailey is he's an old friend of mine. He's another person who I haven't seen for so long, but I have spoken to him over the last few years. And we used to work together all the time in the early days of LA, which was okay. Sorry, that's my husband. In the early days, which was probably the early 80s, Octavio was playing a lot, out on gigs. And there was a lot of gigs here that we would do, just both the paying type of gigs, pop stuff, weddings, and also tons of jazz gigs and a lot of original stuff. And Octavio was really involved at that time,
on stage, he has the energy of a 15 years old guy.
He's adorable. Yeah, really adorable.
And he called me probably during Christmas time. Amore, pezzo di cuore, come stai?
I can just picture that. And he's getting up there in age too. He's like probably 85 or something. Yeah. I forget. I have his birthday written down, so every year I know. But yeah, he's definitely over.
Phenomenal. He's a phenomenal musician.
He's
Amazing.
phenomenon. Yeah. Yeah.
You feel so comfortable on stage. You know, whatever you do, you know that it's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Well,
he's so brilliant. Yeah. Yeah.
you can improvise and do whatever and just like whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Very, very musical person. So, and then, so anything else about jazz, your jazz, involvement that you want to say?
I know it's like,
I mean, you don't have to. I'm just asking, is there? You know, I mean, obviously, I mean, I'm sure you did it in Italy too, right? The jazz, you didn't just do it in Los Angeles.
you know, the jazz scene in Italy is huge. Like it's, yeah. And I remember time, especially when I was a student, like I studied 4 years in this beautiful school, which was the first jazz school in Italy, which was in my own town, which is Torino. Torino is northern Italy.
Oh, yeah, Torino. Yep.
Amazing, incredible musicians. And we had like every year, like people coming from all over the US to do workshops. So I was really, really happy, you know, to get to meet these people and have a workshop with them. And there was time when every single night we were going out and you can see like 3 different jazz concerts, like in different, every single night.
Wow.
Yeah, then at some point the rules
Yeah.
to play in clubs start to change it, so it became so expensive for
Oh yeah.
owners of the club or owners of festival directors that they cannot afford to have music every night, which was like such a terrible thing.
Yeah.
Because of course jazz, you can learn jazz, just go and listen.
Yeah.
Live. I mean, it's not just be in class and do scales.
Yeah.
Standards and, you know, improvise on top of something. I mean, you have to go and watch and see musicians
Right.
listen
Yeah.
the same tune, you know, that you study, and then you listen the same tunes sung and playing from different musicians. That's the way you absorb the jazz, because it's the history, you know, like the spiritual and the gospel that was just, you know, rolling through the era just because of the singing and not because of papers and the music. Yeah, but still we have amazing musicians all over Italy, amazing schools and amazing jazz festivals, like huge. That's why I was very lucky to get to see, I mean, the top.
Yeah, I mean, I used to go to Europe a lot in the old days when I was in my late 20s, early 30s. I would set up, that was such a different time. You know, the internet wasn't as strong. You would literally send out real packages of PR and then you would set up a workshop, or you would like locate somebody with a gig in a workshop, and then you would build from there, right? But it was always, I'm so happy that I got to do that, because it was a great feeling traveling through Europe, the various countries, and it was just the audiences were really intrigued and educated too, you know, and so yeah, I miss that. I would like to do that again. I did go to Italy a few years back, and I did a few things through a friend of mine in northern Italy. But I have a really good friend living in southern Italy, like just right above Sicily. And he's a great piano player. He lived here for a long time. And then he went back to help his parents out and stuff. But yeah, it would be really nice once we can travel again. And
I know. We will. And you know, I remember how it was difficult to find music written when I was a student.
Yeah.
These sheets that I have to take the bus, go to the public library, music library, look through the catalog and make a copy, and then go back home and have this piece of paper like a treasure. And now you just, you know, you digit on your computer and here it is.
I know, it's crazy.
And here it is.
Push a button and you can sing with somebody, you know, who you've never seen. So yeah, and of course this is a huge area to talk about with you of your teaching and your book. And you wrote your book quite a while ago, right?
Yeah, it came out in 2005. So, yeah.
Wow. And
I mean, the method, the
crossover method, right? Yeah. So let's talk about that book a little bit because it's so interesting. Should I go on your site and look at it or something? Or
if you want, I don't know if people are interested in this.
Yeah.
But I mean, my big passion was always to teach. I mean, I get to know some of this giant of teaching and people that love the technique and the voice. And one, of course, is Seth Riggs, which you mentioned somewhere on my bio, and Ken Anderson, which is a gospel teacher in San Diego, which was my first teacher when I arrived in LA. And you know,
there's Mike Lang.
Oh my God, I forgot his name, Mike Lang.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I was like, hey, there's Mike Lang. Okay.
Mike Lang, of course.
Are these sorry to interrupt you, but are these people who have taken your class?
Yeah, or just I mean, not Cynthia from Fame. And Carlos Siliotti didn't take my class. He's a colleague and beautiful friend.
I see.
And Delta Goodrem, which is an Australian pop star. And I think he was the judge on The Voice Australia.
Oh, I see.
And Emmanuel Fratiani, which is an amazing conductor there in LA.
And then, of course, there was Enrico Morricone, who's like one of the most famous Italian composers ever, right?
Yeah.
Who wrote the beautiful music for
I know.
What's the movie that is such a
you talking about La Vita Bella?
Oh, Cinema Paradiso.
Oh, sì.
Cinema Paradiso, you know, when I first saw Cinema Paradiso, I was in Japan and I was watching TV and Cinema Paradiso came on. So of course it's in Italian and the subtitles were Japanese. So I didn't know the actual language that was going on, but the music and the story was so obvious and the music was so gorgeous. I was weeping through the through the whole thing. So it really made an impression on me.
Right?
I'm sorry, what?
Speak Italian.
No, I do not speak Italian. I wish I spoke Italian. I think it's the most beautiful language and it just feels good in my mouth. I wish I could. I just always wonder, should I learn Spanish? Should I learn Portuguese? Should I learn Italian? And so I never move forward. But I think Italian is, if I was
in Italian, we should start to talk in Italian.
Okay.
Fare italiano adesso.
Ooh, I really love that. And I know if you know Italian, then Spanish and Portuguese is kind of not so hard, right? Italian's kind of in the middle.
I mean, it's very similar. Like there's a region in Italy, which is like below Torino is northern Italy.
Mm-hmm.
Liguria, it's like a region that is like this. And the dialect is Portuguese.
Oh.
Kind of almost the same.
Wow.
There's a reason. I mean, like Roberto Montero, which is a friend of yours too.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, is when he said the story of his family, it makes sense. I mean, they came from Italy, and and the dialect was probably important.
Right. Right.
It must
It's
be.
so beautiful. I mean, you can really see why the true art form of singing really comes out of Italian, because it's a very open throat, and depending on the airflow, and yeah, it's really quite a beautiful.
Romantic Italian vision, because in Italy all of us want to speak English. We just want to.
See, there you go. Well, I can't actually say the same for all Americans. I don't know if they all want to speak other languages. I think some people don't even care, but I think it's great. I think it's great to, of course, speak however many languages you can. It's great. How wonderful. But so you're teaching. So the crossover method. So how did that come about? And also, I'm curious to know: do you actually feel like that your book is? I wrote a book a while ago too, and I look at it and I'm like, well, I still believe at least 85% of what I wrote. However, there is that extra. But do you feel like you still?
Yeah. I still believe I did something good.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, of course, like methodologies is still increasing, and studying a lot, and especially in Italy right now, I can see that a lot of teachers like becoming kind of doctors, scientists. They know everything, all the names and the muscles and the words and this and that. I mean, which is beautiful to know, but. I mean, I grew up on stage. I grew up on the road. And I think I'm more, I don't know if I want to say that, but even I love to teach, and I think I'm a good teacher because I love to work with people. I like to make this connection, and I feel like myself as an instrument, like I'm in between of the technique and the performance. So I'm something that I want to be used from the student, and I hope to be helpful for the students. But I think the focus, the goal is to help and prepare to people to go on stage, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's why it's not to become a doctor, and
right.
not like theory. It's to be practical. You have to prepare people to go on stage.
Yes.
Right now, I mean, there are so many people so prepared on the technical movements, on the larynx and this and that. But I mean, and it's great because you can help people. But then I think the goal is to sing. And to be on stage is not just know the technique; it's just one step.
Yeah.
The style, and there are the performance, and then the feeling that you want to put in, and the act, and the lyrics, and the history of who wrote the lyrics, unless you wrote your own lyrics. I mean, there's so much. The package, it's a lot. It's not just. So going back to your question, I mean, I brought in the book what I thought was helpful to get prepared, to prepare your voice to be ready, and the breathing and the warm up and agility, all the information and all the exercise that you can give to the people to make the voice ready to sing. But then, of course, there are so much stuff that cannot be written in a technical book.
Yeah. Why? I mean, I know this, but I'm just asking just because for this conversation. Why did you call it the crossover method?
Well, crossover means like a to cross something, and that's basically my history, the story of me as a student, and the experience I did while I was a student, and while I start to know the vocal cords and the style that then you apply to a voice that is technically ready. So I started to study jazz in Italy, and then I studied at the same time opera with an amazing teacher, which was just ready on opera. So when she was coming to listen me singing jazz, was like, what you doing? What is that? And I mean, she was on stage with Maria Callas, so she's completely ready and amazing in her own repertoire and stuff and style. But she was 100% into the opera. And because I was curious, I mean, I want to try, challenge my voice to sing opera and challenge my voice to sing jazz. So I get to study these two different styles. When I came to US and I went to the UCSD in San Diego, and I found this amazing coach called Ken Anderson. And I think he's still teaching the UCSD gospel. And again, he was amazing in teaching gospel and voice technique, blah, blah, blah. And then Seth Riggs, of course, in LA, which I think, I mean, I don't know if I'm wrong or not, or right. He's amazing in pop music, in R&B.
Yeah.
So bottom line, the crossover is this. Like what I discover is no one is, we call it, discover the hot water. There's a saying in Italy. Io non ho inventato l'acqua. I didn't invent the old water. So what I brought in the book is not an invention. It's not something that I made up like a genius. No, it's just what I learned from all these amazing teachers and vocal coach. I think the basement is just how the vocal cords work, and it's in one way. They work in one way, and then every teacher has a different methodology to explain probably the same thing with different words, with different exercise. And then on top of this, there's a style. So my opera singer teacher, she just knew how to teach opera.
Yeah.
Then the jazz teacher was like amazing and ready to teach me the jazz. And of course, when you put the style on top of the technique, then of course you have to use the breath and the sound and the fraseggio and the rhythm in a different way, of course. And then you have to use a different sound because you want to sound jazz.
Yeah.
Or sound gospel, or you want to sing the same thing in a musical way.
Yeah.
Or opera. I mean, but I'm not changing the vocal cords. Vocal cords are there.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
You just sing and put your palate, then the technique come in and help you to use the breathing and the sound and the voice in a different way, so you can approach a different style. And that's in a way what I wanted when I wrote the book. That was my goal, like try to give a basement and the foundation to people that want to approach the technique. But in a way you can then understand that you can use the voice in a different way. And then when I was telling you, my voice probably was made to sing opera because physically my bones and my, I don't know, the way my body is made was just more easy for me to approach that style, which doesn't mean that I can't sing symphonic metal. I mean, I don't know if I explain myself.
Yes, you did. As a matter of fact, I was thinking, I'm not sure where I saw the opera thing. Maybe it was on YouTube, but I just wanted to show people, a minute of that because
I don't know. I don't know if maybe it's from the website. I don't know.
You think it's the website? Let's just see if it's on YouTube.
On Giovanna, I don't know. I mean, if you.
Let's see. Yeah, maybe it was from your website.
Oh, here it is.
Right here, right? Okay.
Yeah,
Just a little bit of this. And I don't think Facebook will mind if I play this one because it's not under a big, big business. But I'm going to. Gorgeous. Oh man. Sorry for stopping. I'm just, like I said, I'm never sure what Facebook allows or not.
I forgot this.
God, that was all the way back in 2014.
It was so difficult to study that piece. I remember I was counting every bar was like 5, and then in 4, and then in 7.
Yeah.
Like I spent so much time to count the note. It was great. Oh, thank you.
It's so beautiful. Mark is asking if you find it difficult to switch from classical to jazz because of the vibrato.
No, that I think that is the kind of gift that I have, especially because I did the opposite. Like I studied jazz, and then I approached the classical. Yeah, and for some reason, again, my voice was just like, oh, that's easy. But I understand the question, because sometimes, especially if you start to study opera and then you want to switch to, let's call it modern.
Yeah.
Like just singing pop. Sometimes people have so much difficulty to avoid that kind of singing like this.
Right.
I remember there was like for years, like season every year, this Pavarotti and Friends. I don't know if you know in the US what Pavarotti.
Yeah. Sure.
Such a successful television thing, which Pavarotti was singing the same song close to the famous pop star. So I remember once like Liza Minnelli and Pavarotti. So she was like, so then I was like singing the New York thing. And then Pavarotti starts spreading the news. We're talking about Pavarotti. I mean, it's like, but like for him, his voice was just impossible to avoid that kind of sound, even when he was trying to sing pop music.
Yeah.
For us, it's a kind of, like, I mean, it can be interesting, but when you're listen to pop song, which has that kind of sound and way to talk and way to pronounce the words, and then you hear this. I'm just kidding.
Have you heard Aretha sing the classical?
No.
She sang, I think it was actually for Pavarotti because he was sick or something. I can't remember the story, but it's beautiful. And it's definitely Aretha singing, her style. But it's really, it's beautiful. It's really beautiful. It's very
definitely I'm gonna go check this.
It's very moving. Yeah, it's really, really interesting, But like you say, I think that's probably easier for the pop or the jazz singer to come over to, or at least maybe style wise, or I do know people who do both and surprise me always. I mean, I didn't do classical training, although my teacher is a classical singer, but he's not going to teach me style or. I'm going to pick my own tone, I guess.
I'm losing you. Oh, shoot.
Are you frozen? I think she's frozen. She is in Italy after all. Maybe she might have to get off and come back on. Hi, Gay. Sorry for all the noise in the background, but my kitchen is still being worked on. I think it's going to be, it's going to be a while. Yes. Is unstable. Yes. Okay. Yes. Sign off and come on. Yep. Okay. So she's going to be signing off and coming on. So, oh, thank you. Oh, hello, Paul Jost. Thank you for sharing that. You know what else? Actually, I could share this. But I want her to see this too. I bet she hasn't seen this. But Michelle Weir sent me this video of Cecile McLaurin-Salvant, one of the more brilliant singers right now. And she's waiting in a Paris airport. And of course, in Paris, happens to be a great piano right there at the gate. And her pianist is brilliant. And anyway, she's literally sitting on the floor, leaning on the wall, and they play Spring is Here, I think it is. It's magnificent. Hello. Ding, 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 ding. I can't hear you or see you. I know you're there. Hello. We're working on trying to get connected here. Anyway, that's on my Facebook. I might share that with you because I'm sure Facebook wouldn't really care about that so much. Let's see if I can bring that up while we're waiting for Giovanna to get a little more connected with us. And I'm looking. Yeah, wow. Come on, internet. Okay, here it is. This is stunning. And I don't think we'll interrupt Giovanna when she comes back on. But now this is an amazing example. I'll just say this. This is an amazing example of somebody who has their instrument, vocal instrument, so perfectly set up that it's really of no concern. And she's sitting, like you can see how she's sitting. And her voice is so magnificent and her artistry is so amazing. She can really do anything. And I'm going to play that, and then I'm going to tell Giovanna that we're still missing her.
To shows a splinter for my little foot. Spring this year has got me feeling like a horse that never left the post. I lie now, staring up at the sea. Spring can really hang you up the most. Morning's kiss wakes trees and flowers, and to them I'd like to drink a toast. I walk in the park just to kill lonely hours. Spring can really hang you up the all afternoon. Birds twitter, I know this is love, this heard it before, and don't I know the score?
Isn't that great? Hi, you're back.
Sorry about it.
It's okay. I mean, you are in Italy and I am in America, so.
Yeah. I like the fact that you brought up this topic. I mean, using the voice and your friend on Facebook, I think, asked about the vibrato, because it's some topic that I like to share with students a lot, like having sometimes a song and try to sing that song in a different style. And I like to play, usually there's like my favorite things sang from Al Jarreau, and there's I think is a musical singer that play, and you can find it on YouTube. It's amazing. Just to show as an example of using a song that it can be sang in a musical way, in a jazz way, opera style. It's fantastic. I mean, the voice is a really magical instrument that can be in such in so many ways.
Yeah, it's a deep instrument, the voice. It's not, it's not just like, oh yeah, the voice. No, it's like you really have to, you can't see it inside, you can't touch it. You have to really understand how it works, intend to make it work a particular way, practice it. Then there's the physical, the emotional. I mean, gosh, there's so much.
There's so much that you can do. And I really like to try, even on my piano when I have students. Okay, so now let's try Summertime, and which key would you sing that song if you wanna do like a deep summertime, living is easy. Or now, okay, let's do it like classical. I don't know if it's too high like this. Summertime, and the living is easy. When you try to show your students, I want to sing that song in that key, and that's it. I mean, you can 12 keys. That's a matter of what sound you want to have.
Yeah.
What you want to show to the audience, or what style? What are you going to do, a play, or is it just a concert with a guitar? Or to me it's really fantastic, and it's so intriguing sometimes to experiment stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember once Pavarotti.
Yeah.
Do you remember Tenores? I mean, Pavarotti, Dominguez, and who's the other guy? They came to Torino and they did a show singing, but of course not me and other like million people can't get into the theater because it was sold out like a year before. But they put speaker outside the theater.
Wow.
So people in the plaza, or just walking in the street, you could hear the concert. But the great thing, I was around the town in the afternoon, and they put on speaker the rehearsal.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, well, that it's a treasure. And I remember Pavarotti wasn't able to sing something. I don't know, it was like 2 notes. I don't know, vincerò, vincerò. It can't, it was like probably, the voice was not enough warmed. So he started to change the key, make the same 3 notes higher and lower, just to make the voice comfortable and not to be stuck on one note, on one way to sing that part.
Yeah.
I use that example with my student, and it's phenomenal. Sometimes they get stuck in, I can't sing that note. It's so high. And then, as a teacher, you just try to make them comfortable to play. It's not higher, because when you do your exercise, you go like 2 octaves higher than that.
Now that brings up a good point, which is something that I like to talk to, which is just involves perspective. As a singer, we can talk about, I mean, of course it relates to other instruments as well, but because we're singers, let's talk about perspective as a singer. Like, it sounds to me that you're saying, you want to be an artist. You want to be an artist. You want to be curious. You want to be adventurous and enjoy what you're doing, instead of coming from okay, how is it all perfect? Right?
I think that's why I like so much the jazz at the beginning of my career, because it was the most breathing. It was so, I mean, as a musician, I started to study piano when I was like 10. And it was a classical study, which I think at that time, student like in a cage, like you have to play that note, it's a chord, you have to play it in that way and stay in a bar and just be like soldier.
Yeah.
I really felt in a cage at some point. Like I start to hate the piano. Like I can't play this instrument, it's horrible. I don't want to be like stuck like that. That's why when I discovered the jazz and the phrasage, and then you can like move around be you and just trying to sing that same sentence in a million of different ways, because when we go on stage, we don't know how we feel inside, and we don't know the connection that you build that even in that specific moment with your pal, your colleague. And this is not, you can never be the same. Another day, you can't play in the same way every time you do the same concert. And that's why I like jazz so much. And that's why when I was singing that Bacchiana Brasileira that you were showing before, and you have the orchestra, and they were just so perfect and so classical and so into the bars and into the music, and I was just counting like.
I just saw this video of a friend of mine. I had interviewed her last week, Susie Stern, and she's a singer and a poet and a writer and arranger. And her husband, George Oldchi, that's his name. And he's an arranger and composer and orchestrator. So they had told me that they had been out walking and they heard some music coming out of this storefront. And they went in, and it was improvisational musicians, but it was like they had an orchestra, these people. So actually, as it turns out, I knew some of them. They were very high level improvisational musicians. And last night, I just watched on YouTube. It was in this location. It used to be a community center, and then they changed it into kind of a performance center, actually. But they didn't do much. They didn't build a stage or anything. They just basically took out all the furniture except for chairs. And then they have all this improvisational and new music there. And that's kind of their thing, right? So this orchestra, like kind of a medium, small orchestra. And my girlfriend was the singer, but the piece it had form, it was an improvisational piece. It had form, and there was a few lines that she was singing, but then it was, okay, now solos. And she was actually soloing with this brilliant sax player, Vinny Golia. And I mean, it was great. I hadn't heard her perform like that actually before. So I was really surprised, and it was fantastic. She opened it up doing things like, all that kind of stuff. And then she just jumped in and went full on in this solo with him. It's really amazing. So I mean, there's so many different aspects and levels to something like jazz, which is so, I mean, we have forms that we sing within. And even like I have an improvisational group, an a cappella group called Fish to Birds, and we're 7 voices and we just do improv. But we have kind of forms, and then within forms, some not heavy rules, but rules like if somebody does something, go with it, that kind of rule, or if somebody's singing a constant line, improvise with them, or I mean, not improvise, harmonize with them. And then you guys can break away and do, harmonize with other people doing something else. So there's those kind of rules. But within that, there's this great space of improvisation. So there's so many different levels of that. I mean, just singing a song like, whatever, it could happen to you, and improvising within that. So, yeah. And then you can take somebody like Betty Carter, who started kind of as a straighter singer and then went so far over that if she was singing It Could Happen to You, you'd say, was that It Could Happen to You?
Exactly. Yeah. I know. It's fantastic. It's really, I mean, it's really incredible. It's really unbelievable when you free your mind, when you free your creativity.
Yeah.
And of course, as much as your colleagues are like high level musicians, the people that are surrounded you, that can give you that kind of space, that can help you to build that creativity. You just like we were saying about Octavio, when you're like, you feel safe on stage, then more you feel like supported by musicians or like your a cappella work, I'm sure. And then more you can like just free your fantasy and creativity and use the voice and, melodies and notes and whatever, just to go with it.
Yeah.
Like I remember that orchestra that you saw, like the classical orchestra, the director once took one of my songs, and it was just that amazing and kind to write an arrangement of my song for the orchestra.
Uh-huh.
So they were like studying my own song, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so honored that they're gonna play that. But when I went on stage to rehearse, I just start to sing my song, but with the tempo that I had in mind that night. So into the music that they got lost after 3 bars. So, and I know the classical mentality. I mean, at least in Italy. So I turn and I say, okay, you just play what it's written on the music, and I'll see you at the end of the song. I promise I'll be there. Let me just sing on top of this beautiful orchestra, and if I change some, the value of the notes, and if I make it longer and shorter, it's okay. I know where I am. I know my song.
Yeah, it's really interesting to actually direct an orchestra like that.
Oh my God, I was shocked because some of them are really like the top of the top of the top, and it's like, okay, and I feel like, thank you.
Hey, I have 2 questions here. I kind of passed one question, which was, what do you... Oh, and my friend Paul Jost, who's a great jazz singer. See, Paul, I mentioned your name again. He actually gave me the Aretha Franklin link. So when you come back on, you can look at it. And it's so beautiful. But also somebody asked what you thought of rockestra. I don't really know what that is. Do you?
No.
Okay, so then the next question is, this question is way off left field, but are you familiar with Paola Conte? And if so, what is your opinion?
Paolo Conte, of course. Yeah, he's a singer songwriter, and he played the piano. He's a kind of poet. He writes songs, I mean, amazing songs. He's a very like kind of, I don't want to say dark guy, but it's a very like elegant and silent man. Like this. It's more a poet. The way he writes songs is fantastic. So was it this guy mentioned some specific?
No, this is a friend of mine, Roland. He's been a musician, and he said he just said, "Are you familiar with him? And if so, what's your opinion of him?"
Oh yeah, no, it's amazing. He's amazing. He's
Hmm.
amazing. Yeah, he's amazing, and he writes songs with a jazz taste. So
Ah.
yeah, and he used like jazz musicians when he do
Oh,
when
really?
he first, yeah. But he sings in Italian, and he sings his own songs, and yeah, it's great. It's unbelievable. And he started his own career very late, like I don't know, like 40 or something like that.
Huh.
I mean, not late is not. I don't want to say old, but and it's absolutely amazing. Yeah, and
Yeah.
very tasteful. Like it writes great songs.
Yeah. Now, Roland, are you asking her opinion about gelato, or is this a song? He said gelato al limon. I'm not sure. Is that a song, or is he just like saying lemon gelato?
I I I don't know.
You're not sure. Yeah.
I know a lot of the repertoire, but gelato al limone, it can be a song. We can check.
Okay, Roland, you'll have to explain yourself. So,
No, but it can be a song, gelato al limone, which is an ice cream, lemonade ice cream.
yeah. Oh, he said it's a song.
Okay, great.
I guess Paolo sang it or wrote it, or that just
Yeah.
makes me think of being in Italy and eating gelato. Oh. Best gelato in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I always like to talk about perspective because I don't know, that just intrigues me in life and music, and how it's so important to, it's really interesting. I mean, I'm 67, and it really hasn't been until these years, these latter years, that I've been so intrigued and focused on bringing out who you are specifically, like working on that, and how it actually helps voice technique to do that. And I probably was doing it before, but I just didn't think about it, because I was young and I was just doing it. But then the older I got, the more I started focusing on what it was. Maybe because I've been teaching forever, But
yeah, but when you say that, I think the age, it's really important just to get mature and get really into the emotion of what you're doing. I mean, I have the same feeling that you have. Like, of course, when you're young, you just want to sing, you just want to be on stage. But then growing up, start really to read the lyrics, or when you start to write lyrics or write music, then of course you start to put a little bit of yourself, and then of course you get mature, and then you get more, I think, I mean, that's my experience, you get more sensitive, and then I think the feelings and the emotion and the performance, then it makes yourself more finito, you're more rounded, more complete.
Yeah.
When you're on stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. If you define this perspective.
Mm-hmm.
I totally.
I'm curious I know you have a piano there. Is it possible that you could play and sing one of the songs that you wrote?
I'm not ready for that. Let me see if I can,
I mean, don't feel pressured. I'm just asking.
it, but my limit is that I can't memorize chords.
I can't either.
You too.
I have to have the sheet music in front of me. Yeah.
Always, if it's my song, it's like people can't believe that, really. But even like my favorite things, like I this is one of the first songs that I give to my students to study since a century, and I still chords.
Or maybe you have on Spotify or something, like a song that you've recorded that's yours. Can I look at that maybe?
Yeah. You can find both Jungle, Maree, or Mondi, or 007, which is in Italian, that can be fun to be played. They're all on Spotify, everywhere, like Spotify, or even on my website. Maybe I'm not sure you can.
Giovanna Gattuso. I think I'm spelling that right. 1 T and 2 S's, correct?
No, 2 T and 1 S.
Oh,
that's what you said.
2 T
Maybe.
And 1 S. Ah, there you are. So I have, let's see, from the last record, I have, what song would I play?
Would you want something up or more mellow?
Well, doesn't matter. Something maybe more mellow so we can really listen.
So the third one, Jungle y Maree, that's what you, yeah.
Okay, great. All right.
Cerco una bussola dentro il mio cuore. Era tormenta, mari nascondono tesori. Vedo una cima, sei l'ancora in porto dove attraccare. Mani promettono rituali, seni non producono in quel respiro. Ridavo vita, vedevo rinascere sorgenti, impulsi estremi in mezzo ai rami, la giungla. Le ombre mi perdo ma non ho paura. Voglio dimenticare, posso ricominciare, ma che contraddizione, non sento una bussola dentro il tuo cuore, cuore d'acciaio, foglie si cullano nel vento, sento la primavera, l'autunno è passato, ho atteso e trovato occhi, rivedono i colori, seni, immense distese di perle e di grano, in quel respiro ridavo vita, vedevo rinascere sorgenti.
Oh, very beautiful. Yeah, what is it about?
It's about feelings, and it talks about there are some times when you are in a relationship that you really feel with your emotion into a jungle. So you it's dark and you can't see, you feel like lost and you can't see the light. But then at some point, of course, everything become bright, and at the same time, I made this kind of I compare feelings with nature, and I mean in this specific song, and I talk about the heart, and that sometimes you don't feel the ancora. How do you call it when a boat
The
anchor?
Yes.
Yeah, you can find a way to put the anchor some way, but then at some point, of course, things become beautiful, and you get out of the jungle and you find the light, and and everything become more easy.
Oh, you're treading on Brazilian writing, because Brazilian writing, it always cracks me up. It's always about the utter pain and the utter joy in the same song. It's always everything. I love that about the Brazilian music. That's really beautiful, and I love the instrumentation in that as well.
Most of the album, when I thought about the album, I thought of music for guitar and cello, and then I had this Brazilian guy, Roberto Taufik, which brought most of the arrangements, and Jorge Bosso, which is from Argentina, to play the cello. So it was a very southern, passionate. Great work then, actually. Yeah.
So what have you, besides the COVID period, what have you been doing in your career recently, or semi?
Well, I'm teaching a lot, and I'm writing music for a new album, actually. I'm working a lot with this artist. It's an Armenian painter, and we do this performance, which is a live performance, and she has a huge white canvas, and we improvise with voice, music, and paint, and painting. So the whole show is based on starting with the white thing, and she started to paint, I start to sing song. I have a kind of 10 tracks, and again, it's like a mixed class. I also sing Madama Butterfly from Puccini, yeah, jazz, a lot of percussion and improvisation. And while I was singing, we kind of improvise with her painting, my body and my voice. So she's painting the canvas, but at some point she started to paint me, and with the colors, and with
your body. Oh, interesting.
I'm not naked. I'm dressed like a dancer, so I have something very easy that I can move. But at the very end of the performance, there's a beautiful canvas behind me, and I'm all colored. And it's a very interesting performance. And it was
sounds great.
Yeah. We went on TV, on Italian national TV, with that performance. Yeah, and they made this episode with the all concept of arts and voice, and it's called Hibiscus Awakening.
Oh,
yeah, and it's beautiful because we're collecting all the painting that she made that day, because it's all improvisation.
Yeah.
So there's nothing made before. So, and at some point through the years, we want to just have all this painting, all the dresses that I have dirt of colors. And we want to do probably an art exhibit at the very end with all these paintings and dresses.
That's great. Does anybody buy the paintings?
They do.
Yeah.
They, and actually, the biggest one she made that day on TV. Now it's on in this producer studio, and he does a radio show. And sometimes they made like video during the radio show, and it's a kind of background of the show.
Yeah, that's cool.
Oh, it's fun. That's why I feel like there's so many things we can do with arts and music. So many.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. We have my friend Roland is mentioning that we have a friend, a singer. She's a really good singer. She's kind of soul jazz type of singer. She's been singing for a long, long time, and she has become a painter over the last 10 or 15 years. And she will actually, during her performance, she'll turn it over to the band, and then she'll actually do a painting, and then she'll sell the painting. And she's a very good business person. So she uses that in selling herself. And, but she's never done it to quite that extent. That's an amazing.
If you have time and you want to show, there's like a reel on my website.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. And it's fun because you can feel this rhythm and what we're doing. This just like a minute thing, even less than a minute.
Yeah, that would be really great.
To explain better what I'm trying to say with my poor English.
Yeah. Wait a minute. I'm not spelling your name right again. Here we go. Okay, so I guess this would be video.
Yeah, I can. I'm on my phone now, so I can see that.
Okay. Here we are. Hibiscus Awakening.
Yeah.
There's one in Hollywood, and there's one on Rye 5.
Go on the right one because it's shorter than that.
The Hollywood or
yeah, okay. Yeah, the Hollywood one. It's like.
Wow, that is too cool.
Isn't it interesting?
Very. Wow. That must be so much fun to do.
Yeah. And we never know what is happening. I mean, we have, of course, tracks. Like, I know what song, like the track I have, but then what I'm gonna do, it's like I know 50%.
Yeah. God, that looks really fun.
It is fun. It is fun. And isn't she amazing? She's really great. Let me show you.
Fantastic. Oh my God, that really was really beautiful.
And this is the painting she gave me for my studio in Rome.
Oh,
Isn't that cute?
great. Wow. Okay. Well, what else can we talk about? Can you believe it's almost 2 hours?
No, really?
Yeah, it's really easy to have a 2-hour conversation. Sometimes people are a little worried at first, and then about an hour in, people are like, okay, yeah.
No, I know. There's so much to talk about. That's why, sometimes it's like, okay, when we start.
Yeah. Okay, now. Okay, let's see if we can talk about, without getting too depressed. I'm sure people are curious what's happening in Italy right now. And you and I spoke about it before, and it's pretty deep. So, yeah, tell the audience, because my audience is probably mostly American and, with varied people. But I'm
just
sure.
to give you a little story. So we were the first country after China to be in lockdown, and we've been in lockdown for kind of 4 months, from February to beginning of June, and it was a total lockdown. We were like locked in the house, mandatory. You cannot go on the street. We have like military everywhere, all Italy. And what was curious, I mean, I can tell, I mean, was super sad, because so many people get sick, so many people die. We have so many numbers of people with virus. But what was interesting was the silent city. I mean, I'm sure they show you on the news, like the main, the Colosseum, Spanish stuff, like the most famous square, and part of the city completely empty. This was shocking for us. Like, no tourists, no one on the street in the middle of the day. And the silent, like you can't hear one voice talking, which is unbelievable.
Yeah.
So then when the lockdown was over, of course, we all went crazy, like too much crazy. And of course, it was summertime, so people started to go on holiday, even if we were like into the country. And this, unfortunately, create, that virus start again to get around. And so right now, in this specific day, since yesterday, they are talking about, unfortunately, give us another lockdown, which probably is not going to be like total, like full. They probably are going to close the region. So probably people will not be able to go from,
Yeah.
And the mask is mandatory everywhere, walking on the street, into the stores. There are lots of limitations, like people cannot get together into a specific number in club or pubs. Like, it's not only social distancing. Right now, since 2 or 3 days, and probably tomorrow, we're not gonna be able to, to get like most of tomorrow to people into the car, or I don't know about schools. Like schools are open since a few weeks, but it looks like they're gonna close it again because too many numbers. So it's a big incognita right now. It's really sad, because if they're gonna gave us another lockdown, probably Italy is going to be broke for good.
Yeah.
Economically, it's already a disaster, and it's for us, like people that works in the music and TV and shows and you know, our kind of work is the most how would you say in English? I mean, it's terrible. All the theater are closed. We can't get on stage. There are no people able to go in club. I mean, clubs are closed. There's no music festivals, and so I don't know. I mean, it's really difficult to.
Yeah. Is it like America in, well, first of all, there's a few things like, are people doing live stream performing? Does the government provide some money and financial help for people? What does that kind of thing happen in Italy?
It happened at the beginning for like few months, but not for people that works in the show business. I know. I mean, we get help for a few months when this started, but there's not kind of support, unfortunately. And about, you know, doing like shows of streaming things. I mean, we're all doing something, but it's not.
Yeah.
It doesn't generate money.
Yeah.
And with everybody, I mean, we all gave our support. Like I did for like 2 months. Let's Good Morning with Gigi. Let's warm up our voice every single morning. I was doing like 20 minutes of warm up and singing, you know, just to make people a little bit happy to wake up and do our working. But I mean, I did it for free. I did it because everybody was giving something, you know, everybody was make people not sad or like let's keep up and have some energy, and you know, people start singing in the balcony. I'm sure you saw this.
Oh yeah, we saw it. That was very famous.
Yeah, we started that kind of thing. I mean, it was fun. It was great, and you know that Italians have this, you know, this art in but I mean, it's fun. You know, your spirit can be great and good and happy, but at the same time, economically, it's a disaster.
Yeah.
I mean, I am teaching through Zoom. I guess you do the same.
Yeah.
But this will not cover, you know, our entire work as an artist. So, I don't know. This is the situation right now, and you know, hopefully, it's gonna be just temporary, and let's hope that the whole world will be healed soon.
Yeah. Well, is there? That's a pretty good ending statement. But is there anything else that you'd like to tell people to?
Is Los Angeles so bad? I miss, you know, to the ocean breeze. I miss to wake up and look at the ocean, and I miss the energy there and the sun. 12 months a year, the sun.
Yeah.
Oh, and I really want to thank you for this 2 hours. It was really amazing. First of all, it's been so many years that we don't see each other.
Yeah.
And no, thank God this pandemic situation happened during this era when we all can get on Zoom, when we all can get on WhatsApp, you know.
Yeah.
This really saved our life, I think.
I do too.
Right?
Yeah.
And and thank you for this 2 hours, and I love to listen all that music that I did in the past. I should go back and do stuff like that again.
It's fun to like revisit, like because when you're talking like this, you don't remember everything you've ever done, and you certainly won't list it, you know, oh well, I did that, and so it's just it's about right now, isn't it? It's about right now, really. It's not even about tomorrow. It's about right now. And
Right.
we're
And
lucky.
thanks so much to your audience and your friends, your followers that were so kind to to stay with us for these 2 hours. It was great.
I'm sure they enjoyed it a lot. People and Joyce says thank you. And yeah, so well, I want you to take good care, and let's stay in touch more. And
Yeah, we should. And let's get together. We will be able to, to
okay. Okay,
know,
that's good for me. I like that.
more time right now. I don't know there, but right now when you say hi instead of shaking it, we do this.
Yes.
It's the same there.
Yes, most people are doing that. And there's the occasional person who comes up to you and goes, "Do you hug?"
Exactly.
I mean, I actually do hug, but I don't hug everybody. I just hug people who feel comfortable hugging. So yeah, I hug. And but I go out. I go out, but I don't go out into big crowds. And I go shopping, or I'm not really doing a lot where I think I'm in danger, like I'm partying or in close contact with people for the most part. So anyway,
Thank you so much.
you're welcome. Oh, yeah, mama. Thank you.
Eddie, have a beautiful, beautiful day, a beautiful week. And yeah, let's hug each other when we get together.
Okay. So great to see you.
So great to see you. Thank you so much. And let's cross our fingers for the whole world.
I hope very soon. And ladies and gentlemen, I do want to tell who's on the next 2 days. So tomorrow is my friend Judy Wexler, who's a really great singer. She's a singer who chooses unusual songs, and she's really done a lot of really good work. She always has a great band on her recordings and live. She also happens to be an incredible PR person. And so that we're going to talk about that as well. And then Wednesday is a really wonderful singer that I discovered more recently from Chicago. She's a studio singer, longtime studio singer, but also really swinging jazz singer. And her name is Josie Falbo. So that's Wednesday. So now I've gone down to 3 days a week instead of 6 days a week. So I think actually more people came when it was 6 days a week, because they were like, oh yeah, let's check out who Kathy has on today. Now they have to think, is Kathy on today? So, but anyway, it's cool. It's cool for me anyway, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays now. So, yep. Call up somebody you love and say hi. And that's my message for the day. And thank you, Giovanna. Love you.
Ciao.
Ciao. Bye, everybody.